Greetings, Guardians. My name is Bife here. There are some elements to the world of Destiny that we haven't explored in a while, and one of the most fascinating that we saw back in the final shape was Luzaku. For those who don't remember, she is the very first friendly hive that we've ever encountered. She's a hive lightbearer who infiltrated the Pale Heart with Savathun's forces before breaking off from them and carving her own path. She is a guardian, of course, but she is also the guardian of the Blooming Deep, the place where the Traveler reached out to commune with Cayde 6. She reappeared briefly in Heresy, but since then she hasn't really been seen about. I think it'd be fair to call her one of the more hyped up characters in recent years, given that she's essentially treading the same path as Keitel and Mithrax, but she's a member of the Hive. However, recently there's been a development regarding our most favored Lucent Hive. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about that and see why she may soon be another relevant part of the story of the Fate Saga. So, for a little more background, I think it's important to understand that Luzaku isn't actually that relevant to the Fate Saga's current series of story threads, but that might be about to change. As a member of Savathun's brood and as one of the more permanent figures within the Pale Heart, she's been very disconnected from the rest of Sol, in particular the Core Worlds and the Nine. However, she has recently been in attendance with another queen within the system, Mara Sov. This is actually not the first time they've spoken, as back in the Pale Heart, they did have a little bit of a back and forth. Take a listen to this.
The sky greets you.
The Lucent Hive's very own Black Swan event. Greetings, Luzaku. I am Queen Mara of the Awoken.
This one knows of you, Queen of Light and Dark. But this one does not know Swan.
For our conversation, it is a metaphor used to describe an impactful, unexpected event that is later rationalized with the benefit of hindsight. You are an outlier. I am guilty of rationalizing, giving a definition to your existence and purpose to fit my own biases.
And what has the Queen of Light and Dark defined?
That you are a component of a piece of logic I am only now beginning to fully understand. That you are a part of something greater. A component of a bomb yet to detonate, that in isolation defies knowing. And in this, I concede to my own biases. You defy definition.
This one is intrigued by your perspective. Perhaps we should contemplate these possibilities together.
Perhaps. In time. But I am not yet ready to put my emotions aside. I doubt many are.
The really funny thing about this little interaction here is that Mara and Luzaku are portrayed by the same voice actress, Kirsten Potter, which must have made for an interesting time in the recording booth. Regardless, this is the first moment when we see Mara establishing a rapport with Luzaku, and to be honest, she's got a lot of good reasons to do this. For one, I think it's really important to note that Luzaku has a degree of credibility with us. She stood in open defiance to Savathun and has shown that her loyalties lie with the Traveler and not the Witch Queen. By doing so, she also presented herself as an ally and potential source of information for the Coalition at large. As a result, if you do the Blooming Deep Lost sector, you can see her interacting with Mithrax, Crow, Micah 10, Keitel, and a bunch of others. This means that Mara's got some assurances that she's putting her trust in a good faith party, but there's more to it than that. Mara and Savathun have been locked in a battle of wills ever since the Witch Queen forged the Last Wish with Riven and plunged the Dreaming City into its endless curse cycle. Mara has all the reasons to build a strong alliance with Luzaku, as she's a reasonably accurate source of information on the Lucent Hive generally. She might not be amongst their ranks anymore, but she most certainly has more of an insight into them and into Savathun than almost any other character in the system, save for maybe Eris or Xivu Arath. Eris would already give all her information freely to the Queen, Zivu-Arath, not so much. It's hard to know if this is the first meeting between the Queen and the Guardian Wizard, or if it's one of a series of meetings, but their exchange is one that has caught Luzaku up on critical elements of the Fate Saga's plot, namely the death of three. For what it's worth, I don't think this is the first time they've met. And I don't think it will be the last. I say that based on the last few words of this particular lore entry. It's the service of Luzaku, of course. Take a listen. Mara Sov motions to the chair across from her, a nonchalant offer. This one prefers to stand. Luzaku stands stiff and upright. Mara is unsurprised. Hive Lightbearers aren't exactly welcome in the Dreaming City, not even one she considered an ally and, more recently, a friend. It seems something had compelled Luzaku to finally visit, and it was not for pleasantries. You're wanting more than my company. What troubles you? No trouble, yet curiosity haunts me. 3 is disrupted in time. Mara snorts at the explanation. Put it simply, 3 is dead. But not as a result of necromancy. The 9 manipulate time somehow. Yes? Mara rests her legs on the chair she'd offered Luzaku, crossing them comfortably. She thinks for a moment, musing on how to phrase her explanation in terms that her guest would comprehend. You understand the nature of the High Coven, yes? Luzaku stares blankly. It lies outside of space, yes? Well, the 9 lie outside of time. Luzaku begins to nod, then quickly shakes her head. This one doesn't see the connection. Mara clicks her tongue, trying to find an answer that'd help Luzaku connect the dots. She has barely connected them herself. It's a complicated matter to explain, not one to be rushed. She gestures at the other chair again. Make yourself comfortable. It might make the information easier to digest. The Lightbearer warms at Mara's welcome offer of companionship. She has denied the Witch Queen plenty, but oddly, she could never decline time with this monarch. Mara's offer to explain things to Luzaku is one made partly out of friendship, but also, anything affecting Earth will imminently have an effect on Luzaku. If Earth is horribly disrupted, then the Traveler may eventually be impacted as well. Thus, Luzaku watches the 9 with some concern, especially as the transmutations continue to radically alter the surface of our planet. After all, if Earth loses its magnetosphere, if something goes wrong with Earth's gravity as is part of the anomalies, who's to say that the Traveler is not going to be immediately impacted, as it happens to be within Earth's gravity well? Anyway, all that point aside, this conversation has some interesting hints back to the lore of Forsaken. The short version is that both the lore of the Hive and the lore of the Awoken in the Forsaken expansion hints at both groups creating singularities to serve their purposes. In Truth to Power, with all its questionable veracity momentarily put aside, there's a discussion supposedly held between a thrall and Savathun about how one might manipulate time and conflict within a singularity to generate a greater degree of sword logic-based power through destruction. In the lore of the Awoken from the Mara Senna, there's notes about how the entirety of the Awoken's distributory, their origin world, has been kept inside a singularity, where time moved much more quickly, and where it allowed the entire society to advance to great heights in isolation. The 9 have similarly looked at the idea of using singularities to escape their particular predicament of being forcibly tied to our existence. The outer orbits of 5, 6, 7, and 8 in particular have focused on this, with a lot of their plan centering around creating a black hole to escape death. Although, Such plans, of course, have never come to fruition. And then, with all of this, I wonder if there isn't some kind of potential future in which we see Luzaku and Morozov being impacted by the story. The Hive haven't made an appearance in the Fate Saga yet. If they do, then Luzaku has a prime possibility of appearing as well. Furthermore, Mara is intimately connected with the Coalition and Earth. But she is also bound to come up in the story again because she's intrinsically linked to the Nine and Orin. She's also lost her lover, Sieur Ido, as a result of the Nine's actions. At some point, Mara is going to show up again, and if she does, I feel like she'll be making an appearance alongside Orin. If Savathun is involved in the plot in any way, shape or form, then you can expect us to be getting some interactions from select characters like Eris, and of course, Luzaku. This first interaction in service of Luzaku may be the first indication that she's going to be another important character in the future of our story. Now that she understands what's going on with 3, she may have an impact on the world as well. I'd remind you all that at the time, this information was probably still classified. As a result, Mara choosing to share it with Luzaku is not just an act of trust, but also it's an act made with the knowledge that Luzaku may have an important insight to give. If she does or doesn't isn't something we can determine right now, but she certainly has more of a connection to the Traveler. And if there is one celestial being capable of performing miracles, then it might just be our great machine. We have yet to see if Luzaku is going to be an important character in the future of our story, but for what it's worth, I hope she is. I think she is one of the more interesting additions to the lore, and she gives us amazing insights into very important parts of the world, the Hive, the Light, even the Traveler itself. Her perspective on things always has me listening with rapt attention, so I'd love to see her again in a future expansion. However, that's the end of our video for the moment. Let me know what you guys think. How do you reckon Luzaku is going to be involved in any future expansions? Do you think that she's not relevant until Savathun comes back, or is there a connection that I haven't discussed in this video? Tell me what you think down below in the comments section. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and of course remember that if you want more Destiny content, you can hit subscribe and the bell next to subscribe to turn on those email notifications. But as per usual, know that your viewership as always has been quite enough for me, and that in the meantime, my name is Bife. Rodacia ad Astra. I'll see you, Starside.